Welcome back to another edition of ESBR Boxing. I'm Thomas, joined by my colleague Owen, and today we'll be discussing who's the best featherweight in the world after last night's results with Stephen Fulton pulling off the upset win over Brandon Figueroa and winning the WBC featherweight title. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, interact with our content any way you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Um, yeah, so Stephen Fulton pulled off quite the big upset. I remember going in, we pretty much all felt confident that that Figueroa was going to win the fight, and lo and behold, yeah, Stephen Fulton actually upsets the apple cart and gets the job done. Wins a pretty wide unanimous decision,
Yeah.
seemingly, in my opinion. Uh, just quick thoughts before we get into the real meat of the video. What did you think about last night's results?
Yeah, I think Stephen Fulton boxing in Timberlands and what looked like jean shorts was pretty mental. I said I don't think, obviously, I backed against him. I thought Figueroa would have stopped him, but I'm never backing against a man who can go into a world title fight in Timberlands and jean shorts, especially for a WBC bout. So I'll never be backing against him. Yeah, Fulton. I wouldn't say surprised me, but obviously it's hard to judge. 'Cause obviously, when he went in against the new A, he was seen as obviously the man that was going to give a new A problems. He was going to be potentially be the man that unlocked the blueprint. And Inoue pretty much toyed with him and then stopped him. And then against Carlos Castro, I thought he looked quite poor, especially for his standards, split decision. So I was backing against him, but he was excellent. I think everything Figueroa threw at him, or tried to throw at him, he had the answer for. And I think the scorecards it, are quite, like you say, a quite wide unanimous decision is probably correct. I honestly thought Figueroa would be too big, too strong, but Fulton, he stuck to his game plan. I don't know if the Timberlands and the jean shorts bewildered Figueroa a little bit, but after their first fight, I know I think it was a majority decision victory for Figueroa. I thought he was quite comfy in that one. So Stephen Fulton turned the tables once again, tried to do boxing math, and boxing math didn't work out, and rightly so. The correct man won on the night and did win quite convincingly.
Yeah, I will admit, yeah, the outfit was impressive. That was one of the thing that me and my fellows around me watching it were noted immediately is he's got on jean shorts and Timberlands. All right,
Yeah.
that's impressive. But anyway, yeah, he looked great. Yeah, shocked me as well. I thought that Figueroa was going to get the job done inside of the distance too. Like I thought he was going to stop um, Fulton, and like you mentioned, he didn't look good. Fulton in his last fight against Castro, and it kind of looked like maybe he was, you know, uh, I hate to say it, but a bit of a broken man. But
Hmm.
he proved us wrong against Figueroa. Um, Obviously, he still has a lot left. Very skilled. I do think that perhaps maybe we were a bit too high on Figueroa going in. Um, but and perhaps we were a bit too hard on uh on Fulton. But anyway, Fulton wins, gets a world title in his second division, featherweight. Um, where do you think he ranks? Do you think he's the number one? Because going into this fight, I think the discussion was whether or not Figueroa would perhaps be the number one if he were to
Yeah.
beat Fulton. But plans have changed and Fulton wins. So where do you think he ranks? Is he the best?
It's a bit mental because it used to be the lightweight or your super lightweight. Now it's the featherweights we're constantly talking about on this channel. It's such an open division. I said I thought it was between Espinoza and Brandon Figueroa before this fight. Um, so I think that has to throw Stephen Fulton right back in the mix. I think for me, that'd probably put Espinoza at number one. for now. But obviously, you've still got Vargas, you've still got Nick Ball. It's such an open division with world titles spread out. Um, it's such a tough question because it is becoming one of those divisions where it's changing fight on fight. I think I even forgot to mention Angelo Leo. It's a crazy division. So a lot of people had it Figueroa. So I'd probably say it's Espinoza now. I mean, you don't want to write Figueroa off after a loss. I think he will come back and he'll come again. He could even move up because he's massive at the weight. But yeah, it's a tough one, and probably from the next two world title fights at the weight, my opinion and most people on the channel's opinions will be changing around. But I'd probably edge it to Espinoza at the moment. But Stephen Fulton's just threw himself right into the mix with that victory last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I kind of felt recently, especially with those two wins over Rabisa Ramirez, that Espinoza perhaps was, and just, his physical
Hmm.
advantages as well. The fact that he's so tall and rangy really just makes him a huge problem for anybody in the division. And I thought that, perhaps, uh, that he was the best, and still do, that he's the best featherweight in the world. But
Hmm.
like you also mentioned, it's such a stacked division. I still think that so many other fights need to happen in order for us to really get a clearer answer. Um, but I'll ask you this before we go. Uh, what would Stephen Fulton, what win would Stephen Fulton need to get in order to get him towards that number one spot? Who would you want to see him fight, um, ideally?
There's so many. I think Espinoza is the fight for me. Um, that'll unify the WBC and the WBO. So I think it's the one division where all the bouts are spread out, so we get big fights, we get huge world title fights. It's not even close to being undisputed. So I think I'd like to see him in with Espinoza. I think that for me is the one next. Nick Ball's got the WBA, so you could even throw him in with Nick Ball. There's so many big fights out there. I think for me, I would say Rafael Espinoza the next fight for me. Obviously Angelo Leo still got the IBF, so it's a mental division. Um, but for me, Espinoza, Fulton, that's the one I want to see next. Unify those two bouts, and then hopefully we can see Angelo Leo and Nick Ball involved for further unifications.
Yeah, well, there you have it. We are in agreement. We both think that Espinoza slightly edges it out as the number one featherweight in the world, but obviously a lot of fights need to happen uh, for us to really get a more confident opinion on who stands above the rest. Um, but props to Stephen Fulton for getting it done last night and pulling off the upset. Uh, One thing worth mentioning, he does have a win over Angelo Leo from a few years ago as well.
Mhm.
So, I think he's at least probably better than Leo, ranks ahead of him. But anyway, we'll see what plays out as the year goes on. A wide open division, so many fights and matchups could happen. But as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, interact with our content across all of our platforms. And Owen, thank you very much, man. See you on the next one.
Pleasure as always, my friend.
Thank you.